This is the Dave Elliott Show.
And good morning. We have a Tuesday going on here for you. Thank you for joining us. It's August 18th, 2026, and I am so glad that you could spend a few minutes with me here on this 18th day of August. Well, let's see what's going on today. It's going to be hot. First of all, they're talking about a heat index that could be as high as 112 degrees today, believe it or not. 112 degrees. That is warm. We're also talking about no rain today, at least very little in some areas, and that means it's going to be even hotter. Have you noticed? Your house is probably, if you're like mine, your house is probably taking a little while to cool off in the evening after those hot days. We have these automated blinds. They're not automated, but they're battery operated blinds that you can push a button and they'll go up and down. And we normally keep them up, but I said, maybe we'll try an experiment today where we put them down and see if that helps keep the house cool. They're not really designed for that purpose, but they might. So we'll try it and see. And yesterday I was thinking, it was so hot I was going to go in the pool, and then I thought I walked outside to do my Instagram reel for yesterday. And I said, nope, too hot to be in the pool. So I didn't go in the pool. Coming up on the show today, Tim Aten will be here. I'm always excited when we can chat with Tim about what's new in town. And he's got some newsworthy stuff, including the story of an event center that could be providing a new entertainment venue for people here in Southwest Florida. An event center that actually had a life of its own a while back and is about to apparently be revitalized. So Tim will be with us at 10 minutes after 8 this morning. We refer to that as Tim Aten at 8:10. You see how I did that? A couple of things you ought to know. If you want to watch the show, you can go to youtube.com, but all you're going to see is a screen with a little scroll on it that tells you where to find it, and a clock. And that clock is useful only if you want to keep up on the current time. As soon as you tune in after the show is done, the clock is meaningless. But I actually have it there for a different purpose, and I'll share a little inside stuff with you this morning. The reason I have that screen up is so that I can monitor and make sure that we are still live in the event that we lose our stream for some reason, which can happen. Unlike broadcast radio, the advantage of being able to listen to us on YouTube is that you can pause it. If you have to, take a phone call or answer the doorbell or something like that, you can pause it and then pick it up right where you left off afterwards if you're listening live. Or you can listen to it later in the day or in the evening or the next day or the next week, whenever you want. All of our shows are archived on YouTube at the Dave Elliott Show. So it's pretty easy to find. Was I going to put you on Apple Podcasts? Well, I was thinking about it. But the reality is, it's just one more thing you got to figure out how to do. If you've already found us on YouTube or at daveontheair.com, I guess that's all that really matters. You can get there. And my understanding is if you click the subscribe button, which you will only see if you have not yet subscribed, then you will be notified when we are about to launch a new episode, which is pretty much every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. The other thing it's nice to know is, like our friend Jerry in Wisconsin, we have people listening all over the place. We have regular listeners in Ohio, Wisconsin, Georgian Bay. I think we even have occasional listeners from Scotland, if I'm not mistaken, from St. Andrews Golf Course there. At least that's what I've been told. And then we have our regular listeners right here in Southwest Florida, Michigan, all over the place. So no matter where you go, there we are, you see. I just thought I would share that with you. Also, a reminder that if you're listening and the stream suddenly gets interrupted, try refreshing your page. If you go up by the address bar on your browser, there's a little arrow inside of a circle, or a circle that's got an arrow as part of it. It may be in different places depending on the browser you're using. You can click that, and it will refresh the page. If you're using an iPhone, you just pull down on the web page and it will reset. Now, it may take you 1 or 2 tries, because if we lose our stream, I have to stop what I'm doing and restart it, and that takes a minute or 2 to do. So I know it's a pain in the butt if you just want to listen and see what we got going on. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about this morning. Today is primary election day in Florida. It's a day that will have the attention of a lot of news operations around the country. We're going to be replacing in November a congressman, because that congressman, Byron Donalds, is running for governor on the Republican ticket, and he is up against a number of people that haven't even spent a dime in this market, as far as I can tell, promoting themselves. Donalds has had millions and millions of dollars. I understand over $50 million come into the coffers since he was endorsed by Mr. Trump. And it looks like he will be the Republican nominee. And then you have David Jolly, who is the likely Democratic nominee. And the two of them will face off in, about 77 days until we have the general election. Assuming that, of course, they both win. I mean, the polling for this cycle, not just in Florida, but around the country, has been abysmal. In fact, polling in general over the last, I would say, since 2016, what is that, 10 years, has been pretty awful. It's been way inaccurate. And I think the reasons for that are multiple, but the main reasons, I think people lie to the pollsters. I think they do it to mess with them, and in some cases they do it because they're embarrassed about who they're voting for, or they just don't want the pollsters to have their information. I think the simplest way to avoid pollsters is don't do the survey. Do polls have a function? Well, if you're on a political team, they have a function. You know, we probably never really talked about this, but polling does not help the voting public at all. In fact, it can hurt. If you see a poll that says so-and-so is ahead by a mile, you go, well, I don't need to vote for that guy. He's going to win anyway. Or a woman. They're going to win anyway. Or if they show a close race, you say the same thing. Well, it's too close to call. I don't know who to vote for. And if you, by the way, use a poll to make your determination on who to vote for, shame, I say. Polling, I don't know if it really does any good for the average voter. I've thought about it. I used to love the polls, especially when Nate Silver had that 538.com. He was looked upon as sort of a wunderkind for a while, a guy who just had it figured out. And then in 2016, it all went haywire. I think the New York Times wound up buying that website, if I'm not mistaken. But polling doesn't really tell you anything except what any given group of people felt at a given moment in time, and that being when the poll was taken. And again, I'm arguing that a lot of people just simply lie to the pollsters. So you can't really rely on polls to tell you anything. Not in this day and age. And now we have prediction markets. You know, the prediction markets are these like Kalshi and what's the other one? There's another big one. I don't know. I don't gamble. I don't like prediction markets. I think it's stupid. And the prediction markets create even higher stakes for people who want to make some money on an election. You know, if enough people put their money on a particular outcome, it's either because they think that person's going to win, they want that person to win, or they're going to vote for that person so that they'll hope they'll win. But that's a whole new wrinkle into things. And I'm just not sure that with prediction markets and bad poll information, we're really any better off than we would be without them. You know who Dennis Leary is? Actor. He was in that show Rescue Me for a while. He's a comedian. He's having a birthday today. He's 69 years old. I like Dennis Leary. His name is spelled with one N, by the way, Dennis. Madeline Stowe. If you go all the way back to The Last of the Mohicans, she was in that. She was also in a TV show called Revenge, and I just saw her. What was that movie we just saw her in? She played the evil mom for somebody. Was it I Will Find You? I don't remember. Anyway, she's 68. The former ABC News anchor, Bob Woodruff, 65. You know, he was injured pretty severely in an attack when he was overseas. Christian Slater, 57. Edward Norton, a great actor, also 57 today. Caitlin Olsen. You probably know her from High Potential, or It's Always Funny in Philadelphia, or Hacks. She's 51. 51. Wow, boy, does she look good for 51. Andy Samberg, formerly Saturday Night Live, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, 48. Madeline Petch, an actress from the TV series Riverdale, is 32. And Parker McKenna Posey from My Wife and Kids is 31. Since her name is Parker McKenna Posey, I'm guessing she's maybe the daughter of the actress Parker Posey. Does that make sense? It would seem to be the case. Similar names. On August 18th in 1587, don't ask me how many years ago that was. I can tell you that it was 513 plus 26 years ago. So that'd be 539 years ago. I guess I did it. Virginia Dare became the first child of English parents to be born on American soil on what is now Roanoke Island, North Carolina. So Virginia Dare was the first birthright citizen of the United States. A child born of English parents on U.S. soil. And that was long before we had a Constitution or a Declaration of Independence or any kind of law and order here, really. In 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, which guarantees the right of women to vote, was ratified when Tennessee became the 36th state to approve it. Yay. 1969, Woodstock concluded with a mid-morning set by Jimi Hendrix. Who will ever forget his immortal version of the Star-Spangled Banner on that guitar? 1997, Beth Ann Hogan became the first co-ed in the Virginia Military Institute's 158-year history on this date. 33 years ago? No. Yeah, 30. Let me see. 30 years ago would be 2006. No, it would be 1996. Right? So that was 29 years ago. I told you math is not my strong suit, and it was not there was no job requirement that I do math when I got this show. Just saying. In 2001, in Los Angeles, Robert Vance was wanted by the cops on an assault charge, but AI must have gotten word that they were coming, because when the police arrived at his house, I'm sorry, that's not AI, that's Al. It looked like AI. The font doesn't indicate that it was not AI. Al must have gotten word they were coming, because when the police arrived at his house, he was nowhere to be found. Playing a hunch, one of the cops got Al's pager number and dialed it. And when they heard a beeping sound coming from the attic, they knew they had their man. And once again, technology curses foiled again. In 2004, in the meantime, on August 18th, in Coventry, England, 4 masked robbers entered a coin shop armed with guns and knives. They whipped out several large sacks and stuffed them full of valuable coins. Maybe they should have done a little weight training before taking on the job. The sacks were so full and so heavy that, try as they might, they couldn't lift them. Not wanting to take the time to remove any of the loot, the crooks left empty-handed. And I guess you could reasonably argue that they got exactly what they deserved. I think that's pretty funny. On this date in 2011, the West Memphis Three were released from prison after 18 years in imprisonment. 9 years ago, civilian researchers led by Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, rediscovered the USS Indianapolis 18,000 feet below the Pacific surface, 72 years after it was sunk by Japanese torpedoes. It wasn't too long ago we were just talking about the Indianapolis and how people, many of the ones who survived the bombing of the ship, wound up being eaten by sharks and being taken by the ocean. 7 years ago, Donald Trump confirmed he was interested in buying Greenland for the U.S. I think he was going to use it as like the 18th hole of a giant golf course. I'm not sure what the plan was there. And a mere 4 years ago, the first of 130 former Starbucks coffee shops resuming business in Russia under the name Stars Coffee opened its doors in Moscow. Starbucks closed locations in support of Ukraine. So those are some of the things that were notable on this date in history, including some people celebrating. Now, I mentioned at the top that today is also primary day here in the state of Florida. So far, almost 2 million ballots have been cast, 1.9 million. The Division of Elections yesterday morning posted that nearly 1.1 million mail ballots have been returned to county elections offices, and more than 818,000 voted in person at early voting locations. So don't tell me that mail-in balloting isn't popular or necessary, because it is. And oh, by the way, last week, President Trump also voted in the Florida primary by mail. But he wants to discontinue mail-in voting for most people unless you have a note from your doctor or your mommy, or you're a military member of the military, or you're going to be traveling. I mean, you can't just have a, I want a mail ballot. You have to give a reason. Republicans carrying a 1.6 million advantage in registered voters in the state have accounted for 45.5% of the ballots cast already, while registered Democrats were at 42.1%. Registered Republicans in Florida have cast more than 448,000 early votes to just under 306,000 by Democrats. Meanwhile, Democrats are up in mail voting, 501,000 to 422,000. Biggest race in the state, the gubernatorial contest. There are 11 people. I know you think 11 people. I've only heard one name. Republican side. Byron Donalds, Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, former State House Speaker Paul Renner. Collins and Renner, to my knowledge, have they been doing any TV advertising? Because I haven't seen any. The 2022 primary, the last time there were statewide gubernatorial and cabinet primaries, 3.7 million votes were cast. of which nearly 1.75 million were mail ballots and just over 613,000 were early votes. Turnout was just under 26%. Of the more than 3 million votes cast in the 2024 primary, 1.4 million came through the mail, and 656,500 were done at early voting locations. Turnout was 22%, and that was in 2024. So that was 2 years ago in the primary. It looks like we're going to have low voter turnout this year, too, from all accounts. So if you haven't voted by mail or you haven't voted early, go vote today, because you have no right to complain and moan and whine and cry and bitch if you haven't voted. So you need to get out there and cast your vote. If your guy wins or your woman or whoever, if they win, great. If they don't, at least you made your voice heard. And that's what it's all about. It's 7:21, and we'll be right back.
You've got Dave Elliott.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this: a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with #DineWithPurpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
When it comes to your health, there's no cookie cutter way to do things. Each person is individualized in their needs and their desires, and that's the case with your hearing too. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, with 2 locations in Naples, one in Colonial Square off Goodlette Frank Road, the other in the Vanderbilt Commons at Vanderbilt and Collier Boulevard, are here to help you. They help you with individualized treatment. You go in for a free hearing evaluation, and if you should happen to need a little help from a hearing device, they can offer you the exact device you need, the exact technology you need for your particular needs. Don't let your hearing get in the way of enjoying your life. They even have devices that can cut out the background noise if you're in a big crowd someplace. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, I've been going to them for years, and I know you should too. Believe me, you will notice the difference right away. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. Today, August 18th, is Election Day and is the last opportunity to vote in this election. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., and voters must vote in their assigned precinct. Please visit colliervotes.gov for polling location information and to view your sample ballot. Don't forget, today is Election Day. Make sure your voice is heard in the primary election.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
He's always worn a mask to conceal his secret identity. Dave Elliott.
Thank you very much. Happy to have you with us on Tuesday morning. Tim Aten will be in a little after 8 o'clock this morning, 8:10 for Tim, 8:10 to be precise about it. If you crack open a can of soda every day, you might be raising your risk of certain cancers, according to new research. In the study published August 17th in the GastroHep Advances Journal, I haven't received my copy yet. I'm a little disappointed. Mass General Brigham Cancer Institute researchers found that consuming at least one sugar-sweetened beverage a day is associated with more than twice the risk of developing gastric cancer compared to rarely consuming them. The findings were based on decades of data from more than 100,000 people. Across this country, 63% of adults aged 18 or older reported drinking sugar-sweetened beverages one or more times daily, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It doesn't have to be carbonated, it just has to have sugar in it. In the study, sugar-sweetened beverages included regular soda, energy drinks, and juice with added sugars. I wonder if that includes orange juice without added sugar, because orange juice has a lot of natural sugar in it, as it turns out. Well, this is the first study to demonstrate an association between sugar-sweetened beverage intake and gastric cancer in a U.S. population, says senior author Dr. Andrew T. Chan, a gastroenterologist and epidemiologist with the Mass General Brigham Cancer Institute. They had a news release they put out on this subject. Gastric cancer is the 5th leading cause of cancer death worldwide, he said, but we've known very little about how diet might contribute to this cancer. Previous studies have also known an association between these types of beverages and other types of cancer, including colorectal, breast, and liver, the authorities said. So just another thing that you know is bad for you, but you're going to do it anyway, right? I like my Diet Coke. I'm going to continue to drink it. I don't care. I feel fine. And besides, they wouldn't sell it if it was bad for me. I'm not saying that's the right rationale, but that's, I'm sure, what a lot of people are saying. Lakeland Police Department temporarily closed after a well-meaning citizen brings a grenade inside. Well-meaning. He wasn't trying to bomb the place. Up in Lakeland, when a well-meaning citizen, their term, not mine, arrived at the Lakeland Police Department with an old hand grenade, officers had to shut down the station temporarily. Lakeland police say that on Sunday around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a person arrived at the station at North Massachusetts Avenue carrying a box. The person told officers they'd been helping to clean out a family member's personal effects and found the box with what appeared to be a live grenade inside. Thank you very much. LPD said as a precaution, the police station was temporarily closed and officers set up a perimeter that included detours on adjacent streets. Lakeland police also called the Tampa Bomb Squad to investigate and dispose of the thing. Around 4:30, LPD shared an update that the police station and all roadways have been reopened. Lakeland PD said the device was found to be a live hand grenade, possibly from the Korean War. Thank you to the Tampa Police Department Bomb Squad to remove the item without incident and ensure a safe disposal. The department said that, quote, in hindsight, if you find a suspicious device like a live hand grenade, Don't pick it up and put it in your car. Call the authorities and let the bomb squad handle it. Can you imagine if that thing had gone off while he was on his way to the police station or after he got there? Holy smokes. Could have been disaster. They were glad everybody was safe. Yeah, that just makes sense. Hey, I found this grenade. Here, let me throw it to you. I don't think so. I do not think so. The Supreme Court yesterday turned away President Trump's long-shot effort to deny a $5.6 million payment he was ordered to make 3 years after a jury found he sexually abused and defamed the former magazine writer E. Jean Carroll. The court's decision is the latest legal loss for Trump in his protracted legal fight with her. Though the Supreme Court had already denied the president's appeal in June, Trump's attorneys had asked the court to reconsider that decision, which the justices have now declined to do. There were no noted dissents. Under a lower court order, Trump had already paid Carroll the $5.6 million. Carroll's lawyers said in a court filing that she would place the award in an interest-bearing account until defendant's petition for a rehearing is denied. Carroll sued Trump in 2019 for defamation, and then she sued him again in 2020 for defamation and battery after New York enacted a law allowing victims of sexual abuse to file civil claims for past incidents. The second case, the one filed in 2022, went to trial first, and the jury awarded Carroll $5 million. The 2019 case went to trial next and resulted in an $83 million judgment against Trump, though the court's decision Monday is the last stop for the president in this case. The separate $83 million case is now pending at the Supreme Court. By the way, the High Court rarely grants rehearing requests, so it wasn't like this was something unusual. They just didn't do it. By the way, new polling out. I'm not going to dwell on this, but again, you know what I think about polls. They're either accurate or they're not. But the polls say the president has reached his lowest approval rating ever as president in 2 terms, 33%. So it doesn't appear, I mean, no matter what, the polls, even though they're inaccurate, and I believe polling is inherently inaccurate because people lie, many of the polls have similar numbers. They may be 33, 34, 35, maybe even 36. But the fact is, the polling for the president's performance right now is underwater. 20 years ago, the NFL caused quite a big shift in its broadcast footprint when it allowed ABC to move Monday Night Football to its sister network, ESPN. Well, before then, that was 20 years ago, 2006. 100% of NFL games were shown on broadcast television, which essentially is free if you have an antenna. You don't even have to pay any money to receive a free over-the-air signal. We have an antenna, which sometimes works. Moving its flagship primetime broadcast behind a cable paywall was a big risk at the time. While ESPN was incredibly popular then, it was only present in fewer than 100 million homes, whereas broadcast TV sets were present in nearly every home, although they don't say what that number is. I think it's around 150 or 160 million homes. Today, having just one game sit behind a paywall almost seems, well, quaint, right? As the NFL has now decided to spread its broadcast rights among as many partners as want to be in on the game. Now the NFL has high-profile games on Amazon Prime. You have to pay for that. Peacock, you have to pay for that. Netflix, you have to pay for that. As well as ESPN. And yes, you pay for ESPN even if you don't know it. ESPN leads the way with 19 Monday Night Football regular season games to be broadcast and streamed on the ESPN app. And they're also going to simulcast the Super Bowl for the first time in its history, though 10 of those games will also be broadcast on ABC. NFL Network has 7 exclusives, including 5 of the league's international games. Prime, Amazon Prime, has the rights to 16 regular season Thursday night football games, according to FB's schedules. The league's biggest experiments will be broadcast on Netflix, as the league will stream a Week 1 matchup between the Rams and the 49ers from Australia before it tries its first ever Thanksgiving Eve game on Wednesday, November 25th, to go along with its new Christmas Day 2-game slate. All told, Netflix has 5 games this season. Peacock even has the rights to a game. So if you're a fan who insists on seeing every game, get ready to pay up. If you're an NFL fan, the largest benefit to having the NFL exclusively on the Big 4 broadcast networks was that watching was essentially free if you had a TV and rabbit ears. You could literally watch the whole season slate and not have to pay a dime. Today, with nearly 40 games exclusively behind paywalls, it takes a lot more effort and money to watch the NFL. And somebody did a calculation to figure this out. Listen to this. It will cost the average NFL fan $207.80 to watch all of the streamed games this season, according to data compiled by digital security website All About Cookies. That averages out to about $51.95 a month, and that's just the streamed games. Most NFL games are broadcast for free over the air channels like Fox and CBS. All About Cookies explained. However, the specific games available on those free channels differ from one media market to the next, meaning the fans living outside their favorite team's home market may not be able to watch their squad play on their local affiliate station. That is, unless they also spring for the out-of-market packages. And this is where things get even trickier and more expensive. The NFL's regional broadcast model has always had its drawbacks, namely the fact that fans are only able to see a small sliver of the full slate of games being played every Sunday. So they added NFL Sunday Ticket more than 30 years ago, but Sunday Ticket has seen some price increases in recent years, according to IMDb. Currently, there are 2 ways to subscribe to Sunday Ticket. Pricing starts at $240 for new subscribers for the season, while returning users pay $378 as a YouTube TV add-on and $480 as a standalone product without YouTube. So if you're new, you get a real deal, but if you've already paid them a bunch of money, they're going to continue to sock it to you. When combined with YouTube TV, which features all of the cable games, it costs $609.95 for new users to watch all of the broadcast games, and $792.95 for returning users. Now, the problem is you can't watch more than one game at a time, so if there are 5 games on, you're only going to see one. Although is Sunday Ticket the one that has the different windows where you can put like 3 or 4 games on screen at the same time? I don't know. At any rate, everything you want now costs more. That's what you need to know. I mentioned at the top of the show that if you are listening to us on demand or after the show airs live, you probably will notice the clock on your screen does not reflect the actual time that it is in the real world. It does reflect the actual time while streaming, minus about 6 or 7 seconds. But the other advantage to streaming this show later is that you can still participate in things like the impossible question and our conversations. To wit, I heard from Sally yesterday. After the show was over, she was streaming it on delay, and she sent me a response to my comment about cable TV freezing up the picture and just not working properly. She lives in East Naples and said that she had not experienced the problem that I had experienced, and has the same provider I do, Comcast. So even if you don't listen live, you can still respond by texting or calling at 305-699-2665. If you text me, you're more likely to get a response after the show than if you call me, although I do tend to respond to calls after the show at that number as well. So again, if you want to text us, call us, comment on anything, ask a question, make your voice heard, area code 305-699-2665. That doesn't mean I moved to Miami. I'm still here in Naples. But I have a Miami number, which allows me to take your texts and phone calls, and we get many every day. Also, I hope you will follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I don't bother you with a lot of stuff. I basically put one post up a day, and that's my Instagram reel, which also appears on Facebook under the Dave Elliott Show. And it usually features either the impossible question or sometimes we have a question of the day, which is different from the impossible question. But I do post every single Monday through Friday, and I also let you know who's going to be on the next day's show. As far as today's show is concerned, we will be checking in with Tim Aten from GulfShoreBusiness.com and the Naples Press in just about a half an hour. So he'll be here, and we'll have a good conversation with him about new stuff popping up in areas of town that you may or may not be familiar with even. There's other news out there this morning. Drivers who fail to stop at designated intersections in Tacoma Park, Maryland, will receive warnings from the city's automated stop sign camera program, which started yesterday. The fines begin September 16th. You see, this is just another way. You can't tell me that all these cameras aren't about one thing, and that's revenue. It's just about revenue being generated for the municipality or government entity that owns the cameras. There's no other explanation for it. Safety? Well, there's another way to do that. Put a cop at the intersection or put up a traffic signal. The city of Tacoma Park said the 4-year program, which began earlier this year, targets school zones and aims to enhance pedestrian safety as part of the city's commitment to Maryland's Zero Deaths campaign and Montgomery County's Zero Vision Initiative. Yeah, right. I agree that we need help in school zones. Any person who goes through a school zone and speeds or blows through stop signs or doesn't stop for the bus when the signs are out and the red lights are flashing is just a moron, just an idiot. You're only putting yourself and kids that don't even belong to you at danger by doing it. But I think that the willy-nilly use of cameras at intersections, we saw in Naples and in Collier County how completely failed the traffic camera system was here, to the point where the county commission, which originally ordered them installed, had them taken out. It was just too big of a pain in the backside. Los Angeles Lakers governor Jeannie Buss is opposing the potential sale of her family's stake in the NBA team, contradicting an earlier ESPN report about the family's decision to sell to Bob Iger, former president of the Disney company, and Joshua Kushner, who, of course, is the brother of Jared Kushner. In a letter obtained by CNBC, addressed to law firms representing Jeannie Buss's siblings, Jim, Johnny, Janie, Joey, and Jesse, I wonder what the theme was when they named their kids. Her lawyer, Adam Streisand, says Jeannie Buss has not agreed to sell the team, and that any vote suggesting the Buss family is selling would be and is void. Streisand argues in the letter that Jeannie Buss remains the controlling shareholder of the Lakers pursuant to a 2017 court order, and that no sale can take place without her consent. The wording is like this: no sale of the JAB Trust's JAB, Genie A bus. 17.8% ownership interest in the Los Angeles Lakers, Inc. can be effectuated without approval by the current co-trustees, i.e. Jeannie, Janie, and Joey Bus. Pursuant to the JAB Trust and the attached court order, the co-trustees are bound to vote the Los Angeles Lakers, Inc. shares to ensure the minimum 15% ownership requirement is maintained, blah, blah, blah. So there, anyway, she's objecting, and that seems to be a hitch in the plans to sell to Kushner and Iger. Not that anybody in Naples, Fort Myers, or Florida, for that matter, cares, but it is a little bit of sports business news there. In other national headlines, the caverns that hold the U.S. Strategic Oil Reserve could get damaged by the rapid release of stockpiles in response to the Iran war. Experts warned this week as inventories hit a 4-decade low. Damage to the caverns could make it more difficult to respond to future energy emergencies, the experts said. The oil in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, or SPR, is stored at 60 salt caverns, thousands of feet underground in 4 major sites along the Gulf Coast in Louisiana and Texas. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve has tumbled below 300 million barrels for the first time since it was filled in the early 1980s, according to the Department of Energy that released some data yesterday. Inventories are depleted as the U.S. releases 172 million barrels in response to the supply disruption caused by the Iran war. What war? The SPR will sit at around 243 million barrels after the drawdown is finished. The Energy Department has said that at least 70 million barrels must remain in the reserve to safely manage the caverns. Amos Hochstein, a senior energy advisor to President Joe Biden, former President Joe Biden, disputed that figure this week. He said, don't believe the people out of the government that are saying the SPR can go to 70 million barrels. It's nonsense, he told CNBC's Squawk Box last Thursday. At that level, the reserve would be depleted to the point of never resurrecting it, he said. Depleting the reserve below 300 million barrels risks damage to the caverns, the former Biden administration official warned in June. He said, I don't know anyone who believes we can go below 300. I know plenty of people who think we can't get near 300 because physically you will damage the caverns where the oil is stored. So my question is, do they literally pump raw petroleum into these caverns and then suck it out when they need it, or are they in containers of some sort? How is that done? And if they're in salt caverns, wouldn't the oil become contaminated by whatever the material is that the salt caverns are made up of, which I presume is salt? I'm just guessing. I don't know. I do know this. It's 7:48, and Tim Aten will be with us in about 20 minutes, so stay there.
You've got Dave Elliott.
A minute out for Alice Sweetwaters. You know how much I love Alice's? Well, let me tell you how much I love Alice's. For the last 22 years, I have been telling everybody I can about how great Alice Sweetwaters is. From their fresh-made seafood dishes to their incredible bar, their wild wine list, the ability to eat indoors or outdoors, and I might add, some pretty darn nice gazpacho, you will find exactly what you're looking for at Alice Sweetwaters. Try the shrimp wontons, for example. They're absolutely fantastic. Or the little mini sliders, or the grouper fish and chips, or the grouper dinner, or the grouper Reuben. You get my drift? There's a lot of stuff going on at Alice Sweetwaters, including the best sandwich in America, the lobster Reuben. Check it all out at the corner of Airport Road and Glades Boulevard. Alice Sweetwaters, where they serve crabs, shrimps, and big people.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com or call 239-260-1495.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. Today, August 18th, is Election Day and is the last opportunity to vote in this election. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., and voters must vote in their assigned precinct. Please visit colliervotes.gov for polling location information and to view your sample ballot. Don't forget, today is Election Day. Make sure your voice is heard in the primary election.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When Dave talks, his lips actually move. Dave Elliott.
7:52. I'm so glad you could spend a little time with us this morning. Please tell your friends and relatives about how much fun we're having together here. We're going to be playing the impossible question in the next hour. And let them listen too on YouTube. You can get the link at daveontheair.com, or you can just go to YouTube and search The Dave Elliott Show, and we'll pop right up. Japanese scientists are readying a mission to Mars moons to retrieve samples that may unlock the origins of the solar system and life on Earth, although a rival Chinese mission might make it back first. The space race is heating up, but not between us and China, or us and Japan, between Japan and China, it appears. The Unmanned Martian Moons Exploration, or MMX, set to blast off from Tanegashima Space Center in the coming months, could also lay the groundwork for humans visiting the Red Planet. The spacecraft, revealed to media last Thursday, will stay in Mars orbit for around 3 years and attempt to land on Phobos. It will collect at least 10 grams of material. That's about 35 hundredths of an ounce of material from the surface of Phobos, while the Idefix rover, the French name for comic hero Asterix's dog, I've never heard of any of those things, will conduct surface observations. The spacecraft will also observe Deimos, the other of Mars' moons, but without landing, before a return capsule heads back to Earth to land in Australia around 2031. Why Australia? The Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency hopes that the mission will reveal how Mars and its moons formed, a key piece of knowledge in working out how the solar system was born. And there you go. They're going to the moons of Mars. That doesn't sound too exciting to me, to be honest, unless they find some little green cheese men there. Then I'd be okay with it. Looks like Disney is planning a series of updates to Disney World. They announced it at their D23 fan convention, including new rides, themed lands, and updates to beloved attractions. I have a feeling our pal Chelsea Murphy will be beside herself with excitement over this. At Epcot, Disney announced a revamp of the classic Journey into Imagination ride, which originally opened back in 1983. The updated version will bring back Dreamfinder, one of the park's earliest original characters, alongside his purple dragon companion, Figment. Additionally, Epcot's Spaceship Earth, that's the big ball, which has not been updated in nearly 20 years, will undergo a transformation with a new theme centered on innovation through human connection. Both projects are still in the early stages. No completion dates have been announced. In Magic Kingdom, Disney confirmed the official name of its new Villains Land, because nothing says Disney like villains. The area promises to be as large as Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars-based thing, and will feature 2 new rides, a roller coaster inspired by Maleficent, and a journey through the Evil Queen's catacombs led by her magic mirror. Construction on Villains Land is already underway. Nearby 2 Cars-themed rides are also in development for the Piston Peak area. The attractions, titled Cars Ridge Run Rally and Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin-Along, are currently under construction. Magic Kingdom will also see an updated version of the Carousel of Progress, set to open in late spring 2027. The updated attraction will now span from the 60s to the present day and beyond, with award-winning actors Jamie Lee Curtis and Bryan Cranston providing the voices for the animatronic parents. You know, I have to tell you something about animatronics. They don't look so good. Have you noticed? Animatronics look like animatronics. There's no confusion that they're not real people. They're not human. No matter whether you go to that, what's the Pirates of the Caribbean or Small World or whatever it is, why can't they use some of the newer 3D holographic technology, for example, and put holographs of people in the carousel of progress? Now, that would be pretty cool to see, because they could literally use real people but do holograms of them. I'd love to see that, and certainly Disney has the technology available to do it. Just for what it's worth, kids. I know nobody listens to little old me up in Disney World, but maybe you ought to, because I do have a good idea or two once in a while. Over to Animal Kingdom, Disney announced plans to repair the Yeti animatronic on the Expedition Everest ride, which has been non-functional for nearly 20 years. It's broken. Don't worry about it. Your ticket you don't pay extra for it. The park will also debut its first ever Encanto ride, Antonia's Festival de Encanto, in 2027. Disney said the ride will have no height requirements, meaning the whole gang can go on board. Animal Kingdom's new Tropical America's Land is set to open next year. It will feature a new ride titled Indiana Jones and the Legend of the Jade Serpent, where guests will join Harrison Ford's character on an adventure through a Mayan temple, encountering a large, huge, giant serpent. And apparently Harrison Ford has announced that he will be doing the voice of Indy on that thing. And finally, at Hollywood Studios, Disney announced the new Monsters, Inc. themed area, Monstropolis, will officially open next year. The area will include a new stage show titled Welcome to Monstropolis and the iconic restaurant from the movie. Disney's first ever suspended coaster, which will lift riders 40 feet into the air before launching them, is also set to open in Monstropolis at a later date. Does Disney have any really thrilling scare ride type roller coasters? I don't think so. I think the only one I saw that was even remotely close to it was that runaway, what was that thing called? The runaway train or whatever it is that's on the little mountainside. Or maybe the Flume at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is what Splash Mountain used to be called. I don't know if maybe they still call the splash part of it Splash Mountain. But the inside part, which was, what was it, Song of the South? I don't remember what it was called. It's now called Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That doesn't mean you have to buy it to go there. It's about the bayou, of course. Elsewhere this morning, A morning habit shared by billions of people may be tied to men's hormone levels in a way nobody fully expected. A large study published in European Journal of Nutrition found that men who drank more coffee daily had significantly higher testosterone than men who drank little or none, even after accounting for weight, smoking activity, and alcohol. Now, because the study only captured one snapshot in time, it can't say coffee itself is raising testosterone rather than something else explaining both. Like, for example, is coffee raising testosterone, or is it that people with a lot of extra testosterone drink coffee? You see what I'm saying? It might be that just, I am loaded with testosterone, I will drink coffee. I will drink it in a manly manner, and only I will know. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. According to StudyFinds.com, researchers analyzed data from more than 2,200 middle-aged adults in Finland, the world's highest coffee-consuming country, as part of the Northern Finland birth cohort, a 1966 study, which has tracked participants since before they were born. All were around 46. Beyond testosterone, coffee showed up tied to a wider set of body changes, too. Both men and women who drank more coffee had lower blood levels of certain amino acids tied to insulin resistance and diabetes risk. Together, the findings suggest regular coffee drinking is tied to a broader hormonal and metabolic pattern scientists are only beginning to map. So something, coffee, something, testosterone. That's what I got from the article, and I read it twice. In political news this morning, most U.S. voters say they have become worse off under the current governmental administration, according to an FT poll revealing mounting discontent with the president's handling of the economy and the cost of living. With less than 3 months until November's midterms elections, today's the primary here in Florida, of course, get out and vote. The nationwide poll conducted by Focal Data found that over 53% of registered voters said their finances had deteriorated since Trump returned to the White House in January of 2025. Almost 57% of independents and nearly a quarter of self-identified Republicans also felt worse off under the current president. And the only reason the numbers are so low for self-identified Republicans is because they don't want to feel bad about it. And the same is true of independents and Democrats. Democrats want to feel bad about it because they don't like the president. Republicans feel good about it because they like the president. And independents are kind of like, well, I could go either way. The FT poll also found that voters were more likely to say they trusted Democrats over Republicans to handle inflation and the cost of living. The nationwide poll also gave Democrats an edge on handling jobs in the economy, issues that have long been seen as Republican strengths. And now that I've told you that, remember what I said about polls. I bring it to your attention because Financial Times had it, and they're pretty authoritative. You may have seen this already, but Tommy John, who won 288 games during a 26-year big league career and became the first pitcher to successfully return following groundbreaking elbow surgery that was later named after him, has died, 83. John, a one-time Fort Lauderdale resident who coached at Westminster Academy in the 90s, died at his home in Bradenton Saturday night, according to his agent Mike McGuire. He had been in hospice care. On August 8th, the New York Yankees released a social media post in which John wrote that he wanted to say goodbye to everyone, including friends and fans who followed him throughout his career, saying, quote, "I will never forget you." He was a four-time All-Star with a record of 288 and 231 and a 3.34 earned run average during a career that stretched from 1963 to 1989. He pitched for Cleveland, the White Sox, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Angels, and the Athletics. The left-hander was 31 years old when he tore the ulnar collateral ligament in his pitching elbow in 1974, which is essentially a death knell for pitchers' careers at that point. John allowed Dr. Frank Jobe, the Dodgers team physician, to replace the ligament with a tendon from his right forearm. Jobe gave the surgery 100-1 odds of being successful. It had been done before others. But although it was usually performed on wrists and hands, John was the first pitcher to have it done on his elbow. Meanwhile, since that time, more than 2,600 big leaguers and thousands more amateurs have had UCL reconstructions, better known as Tommy John surgery. It's been a godsend for many of baseball's greatest stars, including two-way sensation Shohei Ohtani, three-time Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander, and even Philadelphia Phillies slugger Bryce Harper. Pretty interesting situation, and a man who made history because of his own surgery. And if you're wondering what all the commotion was at that Northeast Ohio McDonald's restaurant over the weekend, it was transformed into a wedding venue last Saturday as two co-workers said, "I do," in front of friends, family, fellow employees, and French fries. "We had people trying to come in the lobby the whole time despite the dining room being closed to the public for the ceremony and reception," said bride Jamie Callicutt of Akron, Ohio, after marrying co-worker George Callicutt. "I was handing out extra sauces to an actual customer in my wedding dress," she said. Doesn't sound too much unlike my wedding, although we weren't married at a McDonald's. "Some customers made it to the kiosks inside to order, and the drive-thru remained open through the celebration. Everyone, including unsuspecting customers, rolled with the punches," Jamie said. "It's still work. If you're there off the clock, on the clock, whatever," she said. "We were there interrupting to have our personal wedding. I guess they met at Mickey D's and they wanted to get married there." The ceremony has gone viral. Social media content surrounding the wedding has already generated more than 20 million impressions across Instagram and Facebook, with the story continuing to spread, said McDonald's of Northeast Ohio in a news release. A wedding at McDonald's, and I'm wondering if they got the new apple pie or they just settled for chicken McNuggets. Tim Aten coming up after this.
You've got Dave Elliott.
When it comes to your health, there's no cookie-cutter way to do things. Each person is individualized in their needs and their desires, and that's the case with your hearing, too. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, with 2 locations in Naples, one in Colonial Square off Goodlette Frank Road, the other in the Vanderbilt Commons at Vanderbilt and Collier Boulevard, are here to help you. They help you with individualized treatment. You go in for a free hearing evaluation, and if you should happen to need a little help from a hearing device, they can offer you the exact device you need, the exact technology you need for your particular needs. Don't let your hearing get in the way of enjoying your life. They even have devices that can cut out the background noise if you're in a big crowd someplace. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center. I've been going to them for years, and I know you should too. Believe me, you will notice the difference right away. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. Today, August 18th, is Election Day and is the last opportunity to vote in this election. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., and voters must vote in their assigned precinct. Please visit colliervotes.gov for polling location information and to view your sample ballot. Don't forget, today is Election Day. Make sure your voice is heard in the primary election.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with #DineWithPurpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts, and every meal matters.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
It's 8:10 on Tuesday, and as Naples grows, let's find out what Tim Aten knows. What Tim Aten knows.
And it's 8:10 a.m. to be sure. Woo! And here's Tim Aten this morning. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good morning.
I guess you kept your promise on Friday when you said you were going to have details on some big stuff. What do you know about this event center up on Imperial Parkway and Bonita Beach Road that used to be the Southwest Florida Event Center? Did you go away?
Yeah, I'm hearing a double.
Oh, okay. You're hearing a delay coming into the phone?
Yeah, both. I'm hearing both live and
all right, hold on a second. Let me see if tell me if this fixes it. That should fix it.
There you go. Yeah, I wasn't sure which one was the real you.
No, this is the real me. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it's doing that. That's pretty interesting. I know how to fix it now, so I'll pay attention. Anyway, the Southwest Florida Event Center is under new management, ownership.
Yeah, it's been for a couple of years. They've been working on that thing for a couple of years, but yeah, it's at Imperial and Bonita Beach Road, and of course, folks in Naples know Imperial better as Livingston Road. It becomes Imperial as you head
into
north,
County.
and then it eventually becomes Three Oaks Parkway if you keep going into Estero. But anyway, that it's going to be now the Voulez-Vous Cabaret Lounge. The signage went up last week. And I guess they're shooting to open by the end of October. So it will be this fall. And their tagline is where glamour meets fantasy.
Ooh.
And so they're going to have these, I guess, 3-hour cabaret shows. So I get the impression, and I haven't talked. I talked to the owner briefly, but he was in Europe, and he was going to be back this week, and we're going to try to get together. But so I didn't have a chance to really find out a lot of details from him, but it looks to me from their website that they're going to be 3-hour cabaret shows that start at 8 o'clock on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And so that I don't think they're going to have the acts like they used to have, where they had some pretty big names come through there.
Yeah, they did. Blues Rider and people like that would come in.
Yeah, they had, because the previous folks, I know they were good friends with people like Melissa Etheridge, and she came numerous times. And folks like, I don't know, there were some of the folks that passed away that lived here locally that were in Wings and Booty Blues and whatever. And like John Lodge and Denny, can't think, what was Denny's name from Wings?
Page? No. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but anyway, they were good friends with them, and they came a few times and different, and there were a lot of pretty good acts there, and if people may know, I mean, that building was built 20 years ago as an Eckerd pharmacy, and before it opened, CVS bought Eckerd, and because CVS is right across the street, Eckerd didn't open, so that it was built as a pharmacy and was ready to open, and didn't open. And then it sat vacant for a while, and I think there were a couple of pop-ups in there, like furniture and things. And then it became the Southwest Florida, I think it was called Center of the Performing Arts, or Performing Arts Center, and that was operated by Brian Spina, who has Off the Hook Comedy Club, and that was its initial. Then he had a restaurant in there called Teatro, which was an Italian restaurant. Operated by celebrity chef Michael Salakis, So, but that and then that ended up becoming the Southwest Florida Event Center, operated by a couple that again brought in a lot of pretty good acts. And so this will be, I guess, kind of like the third incarnation of that place, Voulez-Vous. And we'll see what it's like, though. And it's kind of, people are excited about it, and they're doing a lot of work inside. I mean, it's very luxurious. If you go to their website, which by the way, this location is called Voulez-Vous Naples. So don't be confused if you see that. It's actually in Bonita Springs, but there's also a location that's opening in Chicago by the same owner. So
Did
he's
they
doing
indicate
both at the same time.
what type of cabaret? Are they going to bring in name acts? Or are they going to bring in like, Broadway people that you may not know?
No, I don't know yet, but I do know that he has a director. So there's a director that he has hired. So I have a feeling they're doing their own kind of shows, but I'm not entirely certain on that yet. But I will be doing an update soon on it, and I'll have a lot more details.
I'd be curious to see if they were doing, local talent.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. That's what it could be. But this guy, his name is Roy Dobrasinovich, and he has a home in Naples. His kids go to school here, but his company is based in Chicago. Well, it's Chicagoland. It's a suburb. And he just says there's nothing. He was surprised that there wasn't something like this already here, so he wanted to bring it here. So,
well, I mean, we're known for the arts in this community, and we do support them. So I think it's a cool idea. I'd go.
And it's a good central location, I think, too. So for the region,
it'll draw people from Fort Myers, Bonita, Estero, and Naples.
Yeah, it's easy to get to.
Yep. So what else is shaking out there?
Well, no, the other part of my column this week was about Papa Joe's Trattoria, the Papa Joe's Trattoria. Right after it opened, it was sued by the nearby New York Pizza and Pasta. They're off of Mockley, and Papa Joe's is in the Naples Park area off of 40. It's at 41, and I think it's 108th. And so anyway, they changed their name to the Brooklyn Trattoria, the thing is, it's not more than just one restaurant suing another. It's actually family. So Papa Joe is a nickname given to Giuseppe Maffei, and he is the father of the two sons that own New York Pizza and Pasta. So they thought that they were infringing upon a moniker that they created for him, because he did a lot of their little Instagram videos and things like that to promote New York Pizza and Pasta. And then when he left he joined Mike Kardashian, who had the Zen Asia barbecue there for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike, who also is Italian, of course, wanted to change to an Italian format because prices have been so much higher to do what he wanted to do, or what he was doing with Zen. So so it's convoluted, but yeah, so that's the new name now is the Brooklyn. And so we'll see what happens, but it's just one of those unfortunate family squabbles that.
So blood is not thicker than water in this case, apparently.
no. So, but people are.
I heard from Howard yesterday.
Oh yeah.
You're one of your favorite bird dogs.
Yes.
And he said he's seen ads for the new Helios restaurant residences on the East Trail in East Naples for a year and a half. I guess that's at Davis and 41 there. Is that where that is?
No, I think Helios is next to what is that place? Foxborough. So it's behind.
Behind Culver's and
behind Culver's, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last piece to be developed as part of the shops at Hammock Cove 2. So we're Lamborghini in that same area where the Lamborghini dealership is. But I believe that's Helios back there, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
so I need to do an update on it because it's changed its name. It was supposed to be condos, I think, initially, and then it was apartments. And so, yeah, I need to do an update on the.
Yeah, he
on
said
that
he noticed
project.
all the signage has been taken down and wondered if it was ever going to be built.
Okay.
So
I'll check on that.
I'm sure there's a lot of curiosity about that. And besides that, what else is shaking out there in terms of shovels of dirt?
Well, I told you about Aurelio's closing, no, I did talk about Aurelio's closing, yeah, but that did close as well last week. With both, there were only 2 locations in Florida: the one on Naples Boulevard in North Naples, and one on Ben Hill Griffin, off Ben Hill Griffin in Estero, and both those closed. And it was a franchise issue. I actually got Joe Aurelio on the phone, the CEO of the company in Chicago, and he was disappointed because he didn't have notice that they were going to close. And he's hoping he can attract a new franchise, a local franchisee that can either take over those spots or continue. He thought that the Naples market has been good to him, I think, for about 30 years. And so, because, it used to be one on 41,
Right.
and then they moved to Coastland Center Mall.
Is that where the Leaky Tiki is or was?
Yeah, where it was, and that's closed now too, and they're gonna eventually tear down that building to build the new Aquarius Hotel. But yeah, so we might see Aurelio's come back to the market, and so it'd be interesting. But Aurelio's does still want to serve this area, so we'll see if that ever happens. Then the other one that just happened, I told you before about Moe's Southwest Grill closing at the Grenada shops.
Yes.
And it's going to become a new Italian restaurant. Well, since then, that was just the beginning. And it's the same franchisee who owned, he owned more than 15 locations. And apparently, all of them, maybe except for one, closed because of their filed for bankruptcy. And so the 2 other ones that closed are the one at Berkshire Commons.
Oh my gosh, I go there occasionally.
Yeah,
it's gone.
Santa Barbara and Radio. Yeah, that closed. And then the one at Gulf Coast Town Center closed. Now, the one that I'm not sure, and I tried to get them on the phone today, and they're still an answering machine, and it's the one on Naples Boulevard that's over there near Naples Boulevard and Airport.
By Jimmy John's on the backside there.
Yeah. And that's the only one that wasn't on the list of closings, and that one still may be open. But I did notice that it's the same franchisee. It's I think it's Fresca something. I can't remember what the name of it is, but they I think it's Quality Fresca is the name of the franchisee, the LLC. And so, yeah, it doesn't look like we'll be hearing "Welcome to Moe's" anymore.
Well, they were kind of a low. I hate to say low cost or low rent, but they were kind of a knockoff of Chipotle. I mean, they had the same. I actually preferred Moe's to Chipotle.
Yeah, they were good. They were good back in the day, and I think Chipotle just kind of eclipsed them a bit. And I think Moe's might have been around first.
I think they were.
And then Chipotle came and kind of took over the market. So for the most part,
I feel bad for them. That's too bad. But that Berkshire Commons is a very popular place, and stuff doesn't stay vacant in there for very long. So I'm sure somebody will take over that space.
Yeah, I would think so. And that part of the Commons, that was actually owned by a separate company than the main part, but now they're all under one company. That's the main company that had the Publix part of it did purchase that in the last year or so. But yeah, as you said, I think it will. There's a lot of restaurants in that space.
Oh my gosh, there's a pizza. There are 2 pizza places in there. First Watch is in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's I think a lobster roll place that used to be where Starbucks was on the corner.
Yes,
there's Starbucks tropical smoothie.
Now it's called Brew Bistro. They still have lobster rolls, but it's a sit down restaurant that people rave about. Yeah,
really?
People Brady's. Oh yeah, that Brew Bistro is someplace you might want to check out because I see really good reviews of that.
Well, I've never seen anybody in there.
Yeah, I don't think they changed the signage, so it still says Lobster Rolls #1, but that's not what the business is called anymore. It's called, if people want to look it up, it's BRU, Bistro.
Brew
And,
Bistro.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you got in one of the out parcels there's a Domino's, and then there's Beef O'Brady's.
Mm-hmm.
And there used to be a Subway in there, but that closed.
Yeah,
So
there's a Jasmine Chinese restaurant.
Jasmine, we love
forever.
Jasmine. We order from them all the time.
Yeah.
So big
Wingstop.
Yeah. No, I forgot about Wingstop. Yep.
And then I think the Subway might be, I don't know if it changed. That Subway that used to be on that leg facing radio, I think it might be coming as another sub place, but if I'm not mistaken. I want to say Jersey Mike's, but I don't know if that's right. You might.
Boy, that would be great for the people who live in East Naples. I love Jersey Mike's.
Mm-hmm.
And Slicers. Those are my two favorite
Yeah.
sub shops.
Those are good. Slicers is really good too.
Oh,
so very, very unique.
Billy does a great job there, and he's on the job all the time, and they really crank them out.
Yeah, they've got me putting Doritos on sandwiches now. So
yeah, they take these little bags of Doritos and they crush them up and they sprinkle them on top of the sub. I've never had it done. I have my favorite in there. It's called the Tommy Guns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got hot relish on it and turkey and or is it chicken? And they put garlic aioli, and it's just fantastic. And I get it heated up. Oh
yeah, and they roll all the meat up.
Oh my gosh,
it's a lot to eat.
It is a lot to eat. So
and then I've heard that I think that the McDonald's on Livingston it may be opening in the next couple of weeks. So it might open by the end of the month.
Well, I went by there the other day. It's adjacent to the Wawa, the very first Wawa in Collier County.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that there were cars in the parking lot. All the construction vehicles were out of there. And the back area, which had been taped off, was open. Not that you could drive in because the other entrances were still taped off. So it looks like they're getting ready to pull the trigger.
I've heard in about 2 weeks. So
that'd be good.
if that happens. So
that's going to be a big traffic problem for the people heading south on Livingston Road toward Radio.
Yeah, it could be, because that's been a pretty clean drive so far.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but especially in morning drive with people stopping for coffee and egg McMuffins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of surprised that they built right. I mean, they compete directly with Wawa in terms of food.
I think it's a very odd spot. I thought it was an odd spot for Wawa to begin with, and now for McDonald's, it's extremely strange that it's not on a main thoroughfare where you do have more traffic. That's kind of like an interior. It's odd. To me.
I agree with you. Anyway, you were about to say before I so rudely interrupted.
Well, I was going to say, it's something you might want to talk about later, is about the primary. Is that shouldn't the primary be called secondary, because it's not, and the November election be called the primary, being the main one? I know that's always been confusing.
Primary in general, I think primary is like preliminary. Maybe they ought to call it the preliminary.
Yeah, preliminary. I think primary, one of the definitions is first in order. So I think that's where it comes from. But I think most people use primary as main or major, so it seems it's kind of off. But
how about semifinals?
Right. Well, in Southwest Florida, though, because of it's heavy, the Republican, that it is the primary often is the deciding election.
Well,
so
it will be for the Congress for districts 22 and 19. And we are going to be talking about the primary tomorrow. I was in contact with my friend, Dr. Peter Bergerson, former poli-sci professor at Florida Gulf Coast University yesterday. Mm-hmm. And in the event there are any surprises, he'll be with us tomorrow to talk about what happened. I can tell you that in my conversation with him, his analysis was that the late endorsement by the president of this Catalina Loft might have an influence in the outcome of the election, because there are, according to Dr. Bergerson, there are 3 real contenders for that: Catalina Loft, Jim Schwartzel, and Jim Oberweis. And he said it could go any which way. It's unclear what this late endorsement will do for the thing, but he thinks it's going to be a very close race.
I think so too. I think the number is going to be very, very close, and especially with a very low turnout. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're looking at 1.9 million ballots have been cast so far, including 1.1 million by mail. So the rest were early voting. All right, what's coming up on your Friday column?
Well, I've got some news that it's interesting on. It's a new development that's under construction on Immokalee Road. The piece, though, it's hard to explain, but it's the piece that's east of Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary. That leg of Immokalee as it goes north and it turns again. Immokalee steps up in different ways all the way to go to the Immokalee community. So this is a community that's under construction called Bright Shore Village. And it's huge. And actually, the person who wrote in the question was J.C. Bruce. So it's his question that I'm answering, and wanted to know what it was. He was on the way. I think he might have been on the way to the casino up there or someplace, and
I'll never
saw it. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't say, but I heard him talking about the casino before. But anyway, this is going to be at least 2,000 homes, and as the name implies, village, it will be somewhat self-contained, where we'll have businesses, and there will be businesses open to the public along Immokalee Road there. So it's just more of the growth pushing north and east, and so it's crazy. But I have all the details on that.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to it in your column in both the Naples Press and Gulf Shore Business. And, of course, people can go to gulfshorebusiness.com or the Naples Press and sign up by clicking the little link in the upper right-hand corner and get the free newsletter every day from 7 and 3, or your Friday column as well, right?
That's right.
All for free.
Yeah, it's a great deal. And you can keep up on what's happening.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Tim Aten joining us this morning from gulfshorebusiness.com and the Naples Press. It is 8:32, and we'll be right back.
Dave Elliott.
A minute out for Alice Sweetwaters. You know how much I love Alice's? Well, let me tell you how much I love Alice's. For the last 22 years, I have been telling everybody I can about how great Alice Sweetwaters is. From their fresh-made seafood dishes to their incredible bar, their wild wine list, the ability to eat indoors or outdoors, and I might add, some pretty darn nice gazpacho, you will find exactly what you're looking for at Alice Sweetwaters. Try the shrimp wontons, for example. They're absolutely fantastic. Or the little mini sliders, or the grouper fish and chips, or the grouper dinner, or the grouper Reuben. You get my drift? There's a lot of stuff going on at Alice Sweetwaters, including the best sandwich in America, the Lobster Reuben. Check it all out at the corner of Airport Road and Glades Boulevard. Alice Sweetwaters, where they serve crabs, shrimps, and big people.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. Today, August 18th, is Election Day and is the last opportunity to vote in this election. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., and voters must vote in their assigned precinct. Please visit colliervotes.gov for polling location information and to view your sample ballot. Don't forget, today is Election Day. Make sure your voice is heard in the primary election.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com or call 239-260-1495.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with #DineWithPurpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
He's not really old. He's 45, plus shipping and handling. Dave Elliott.
8:36 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're listening live, if you're not listening live, it doesn't matter what time it is. It's just what time it is. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to be playing the impossible question. Speaking of which, we had no winner yesterday, and I promised I would say what the answer to yesterday's question was. We did get a winner on Instagram. Ron from California knew the answer to our impossible question. The average American eats 4 of these each week. That was yesterday's question. And the response, salads, is what people eat 4 of each week. That's from yesterday. We'll have another impossible question with a brand new question and hopefully an answer coming up in just a few minutes. And you could win a gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's. I might remind you, Alice's, by the way, is closed right now for summer and fall cleaning. They'll be reopened in about 10 days or so. So be ready for that. Maybe 11 days. Just know that they're getting ready for the big fall season, and they will be back open. Well, in other news this morning, it's a question you don't expect to be asked at work, to say the least. From Mediaite, Good Day Detroit co-anchor Ryan Ermani couldn't stop himself from cracking up live on the air last Thursday when his morning show colleague Dina Centofanti asked him, "Do you think you could eat beaver?" The double entendre question, which I will not be explaining, made Ermani start wheezing as he put his head down into his hands and went into a full-blown laugh attack. Oh, God, he let out. They got onto the topic a few minutes earlier when Centofanti was talking about how much she loved the show Alone, a History Channel program where contestants have to fend for themselves outdoors in a quest to win $500,000. Centofanti and co-anchor Derek Kevra apparently were having a discussion about how the contestants have to survive by catching and eating wildlife, including beavers. Centofanti marveled, "The beavers are huge." The unintentional innuendos kept coming from there, with Centofanti telling Ermani the secret is to be looking for the fat in the beaver, she added. "The beaver is the most sought after." "It is," Kevra Riley said, as he pointed at Centofanti. By that point, Ermani was already beginning to lose it, and then Centofanti sent him over the edge by asking the big beaver eating question. Ermani needed a moment to gather himself after all that. "Yeah, I don't know anything," he said as he regained his composure, "but you really are funny. You're a funny gal." Ermani later shared the clip on social media, and Centofanti quipped on her Facebook page, "You learn stuff. while watching alone. Apparently, her coworkers filled her in on the terms of their meeting. She ended the segment Thursday morning by telling the show's loyal viewers the hosts wanted to hear their thoughts on the matter. And there you go. I watched one episode of that show. And what they do is they drop off a number of people in the wilderness, but far enough apart from each other so that they will never meet. And they are given rudimentary tools to survive, and they then go about their survival. But here is the kick. There is no deadline on when you have to, how you have to hold out till. It's not like they say, okay, you'll be here for 3 months or 2 weeks or whatever. It's as long as the longest survivor survives. And the thing is, the winner will not know how many, if any, of the other people that were dropped off in the wilderness are still out there doing survival stuff. So it could be that everybody's gone and you're still out there for months or weeks and weeks at a time, and you don't have any idea that the other people have already given it up. I'm not sure how they alert you that you won. I guess maybe after the last person drops out before you, if you're the longest survivor, you win. I don't know how it works. But there's no, it's not like, well, I know in 3 weeks I'll be out of here. So that's pretty interesting. All right, 8:41 Eastern time, and you know what that means. Yep, it's time for
The Impossible Question on the Dave Elliott Show.
I got to learn to get my dials and knobs turned up properly here. That's the one thing I've got. It would be helpful if I had a producer, but I'll manage somehow. For many years, when I started in this business, in the radio business, before I got into podcasting, I was my own board operator. I would not only provide the content and the entertainment, but I would also push the buttons, turn up the dials, play the commercials, do it all. And I got spoiled working with the last person I worked with was the great Matt Mangus, who's now on US 41 Radio, and I hope you'll check him out online at US 41 Radio. He plays a lot of cool music over there, talks about it, supports local artists, but he runs his own board as well. So there's that. All right, anyway, it's time to play the impossible question this morning, where you could win a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's, which you can use when they reopen for the fall season. Here is today's question. If you haven't won anything in the last 30 days, you're eligible to play today. And I might remind you that coming up, I think starting next week, we're going to be giving you a chance to win $100 gift certificates to some of the Sizzle dining restaurants in the area. That'll be fun. But for this week, it's $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's. So here we go. A survey found you are more likely to do this at 6 p.m. Friday than at any other time during the week. A survey found you are more likely to do this at 6 p.m. Friday than at any other time during the week. What's your best shot at an answer? Give me a shout at 305-699-2665, or you can text me at that number, either one. I'll take phone calls or text messages this morning. That's because of the kind of guy I am. A survey found you are more likely to do this at 6 p.m. Friday than at any other time during the week. BA says, have a cocktail. No. Sorry, that's not it. Make another guess. A survey found you are likely to do this at 6 p.m. Friday more than any other time during the week. 305-699-2665. 305-699-COOL if you think you know the answer to the impossible question. If you don't know the answer, we'll, of course, restate it on Instagram, and we'll see if we get some responses there. And if we get a winner there, then you will be the winner. But if you haven't won anything in the last 30 days, tell me what you think the answer is now. And who knows, you might be right. Have a cocktail is not the right answer, but it could be something similar. I'm just saying. A survey found that you're more likely to do this at 6 p.m. Friday than any other time during the week. And it's not go out to eat. Not go out to eat. Close, I will say, but no cigar. So that's the buzzer, meaning no, not right. One more time, our impossible question. A survey found that you are more likely to do this at 6 p.m. Friday than any other time during the week. 305-699-2665. And again, we'll post the question on Instagram and Facebook so you can check it out there at The Dave Elliott Show. And I hope you will do that very thing. Meanwhile, down in Key West, an officer with the Key West Police Department is facing DUI charges after being arrested early Sunday morning. According to the Key West Police Department, Officer Dustin Christina, who is 40, was off duty when authorities responded to the area of Peary Court around 5:10 a.m. after receiving complaints and found him sitting in the driver's seat of a parked car. Officials said a supervising officer investigated and determined there was probable cause to arrest Christina for DUI. He was taken to the Monroe County Detention Center without incident on misdemeanor charges of DUI and refusal to submit to DUI testing, and he should know better. No details available on the arrest. I'm just looking here to see if he's eligible, and it looks like he is. I think we have a winner. Ed emails in and says, order a pizza. And Ed, I'm going to give it to you because the answer was order delivery dinner. So even though you said pizza, that's dinner in my book, and you're right. Steve says cocktails. Nope. But our winner this morning, Ed, good job, buddy. You got it right, and you're off to Alice Sweetwater's to enjoy a $25 gift certificate there. B.A.'s sister said go to a bar. That's not right either. But Ed, our big winner this morning on the impossible question. So I may just put it up there on Instagram and Facebook just for the fun of it. Anyway. We may get some crazy answers. You never know. Ed, I'll be calling you after the show to explain to you how you can claim your prize. Thanks for playing the impossible question this morning. Meanwhile, Dolly Parton is not apparently doing well health-wise. She missed the opening of a new ride at Dollywood on Friday. But the country music superstar appeared in a video during the event in which she celebrated the ride's opening and provided an update on her health. The event at her theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, was to dedicate the new Night Flight Expedition attraction, which Parton in the video said was supposed to open earlier this year but had been postponed. She'd been planning to attend Friday's event in person. In the video, which has been circulating on social media, Parton, who is 80, was adorned with butterfly wings on her back. She apologized for being in Nashville instead of being at the park and explained she sometimes feels a little dizzy and that she sometimes gets dehydrated. She joked that her doctor, quote, kind of clipped my wings, unquote, and advised her not to travel this week because she was experiencing dehydration. I guess if the doctor tells you ain't traveling this week, you ain't traveling this week. Parton joked, but hopefully she'll be fine. It'd be sad. She's such a force of nature. Dolly Parton, all by herself. Whether you love country music or not, she is just tremendous, I have to say. The wedding favors most people want. The Web was asked again, getting married, planning to give wedding favors to guests. A survey found edible items are most popular. While guests like reusable tote bags and wine bottle stoppers and custom luggage tags are nice, survey respondents online who've been to 6 or more weddings said most wedding favors end up in a drawer or worse, being thrown away. Some of the top wedding favors, according to guests in no particular order. By the way, do you go to a wedding for the favors or do you go to a wedding for the wedding? Some of the top wedding favors in no particular order: customized cookies, something wedding related in the icing. Regional snacks or spices like barbecue rubs, hot sauce. You give out a barbecue rub as a wedding favor? Treats made by a local store like gourmet popcorn. I'd take that. Small bags of good coffee beans or ground coffee, especially from a local roaster. Another thing people like to get as wedding favors: loose leaf tea or nice tea sachets in a tin or a labeled bag. Local honey or jam in small bars. And something else, somebody said gift something fun and useful. One couple gave their guests $2 scratch-off lottery tickets with a penny, so you could scratch them off, you see. An attached card read, "We hope you get lucky tonight." What to get, Grandma? How about plastic surgery? With people living longer, plastic surgery among those 65 and older continues to grow. Each year, the 65-plus crowd in the U.S. has over 90,000 surgical procedures and over 600,000 minimally invasive procedures. Minimally invasive procedures include Botox, dermabrasion, laser hair removal, laser tattoo removal, and so on. And finally, this morning, a nationwide experiment across 80,000 K-12 school principals in the United States involving those administrators getting an email from a fictitious two-parent household with both a mother and a father interested in enrolling a child, with each email listing both parents, each with a phone number asking for a call. The study found that when neither parent appeared more available than the other, mothers were nearly 1.5 times more likely than fathers to get the first available phone call. And of principals who called someone back, 60% contacted the mother first, even when the fathers were presented as having significantly more availability to talk. Many principals still called mom first. So if you're a mom, lucky you, you get the call from the principal. Have a great day. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. We'll be checking in with Jim Watkins, who will be here to talk about the primary election. We may hear from Dr. Peter Bergeson as well. And Reg Buxton will be along to talk about the same. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.